can see you.
Hey, hey, girl, hey.
Was it that
I'm
thing?
back. Huh?
Was that the thing that you did you need to slide the thing over?
No, I'm on my phone. I'm gonna have to figure that out when we log off.
Oh, okay, okay.
But you can hear me clearly. All is well.
Yep, yep,
Okay.
yep.
Okay.
So a lot of people were not able to get into chat last time because apparently you have to have a YouTube channel to be able to chat,
Okay.
which I didn't know that. So some people made rooms, some people didn't, which I get
Okay.
both because that would be annoying if you're just trying to chill and then all of a sudden you got to make a channel. Um, so what I did was I posted in the room and then I'll say it throughout the show. I can make a chat room on Facebook and
Okay.
then I can invite everybody to Facebook and then we can communicate that way.
Okay.
Um, so, um, but how is your day?
Let's say this. Okay. Because I'm gonna tell you,
That part.
my my days are fine. But for anybody who has been actively trying to turn stuff around in their life, your days could seem like they're running together. Like they just like you blink twice, it's
Yes.
time to go to bed.
Yes.
You yawn, it's time to get up. And sometimes it feels like I ate, but I don't even remember what the food tastes like. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of
Yeah,
like,
I got you.
you know, it's like you just going through the emotions and you going through the motions and you doing stuff, and then and you kind of almost holding your breath too, because you got a plan and you hope this thing look like what it promised to look like, what you see it to look like, and you just working, and sometimes halfway through the work you don't know what the hell you doing. You just you just doing stuff, and it's like,
Like as soon as I log in and start working, within 15 to 20 minutes, I guarantee you, I'm like, what was I doing? Did I send this? I think I did that part. It's almost like you do the same thing every day so often that you almost get there without even remembering to get there. Because
yeah.
I went to see a comedian once at this place in Akron, and this comedian was like, "How many people got here and don't really remember how they got here?" And I was like, "I mean, because I know I drove, but there's plenty of times where I'm just driving and I'll get in my own thoughts or just whatever because I'm tired, and I know that I'm driving, but I'm not like paying attention, I guess." And I'll get to where I'm at, and it's like I don't even
Like I have went downstairs in
autopilot.
the basement, and I have a load of clothes in the washing machine, and I'm like, I don't even remember coming down here doing laundry. Like, who down here starting my laundry for me?
Have you ever had to restart a load of laundry because you messed with the
Yeah.
washing machine too long?
Yes. Do you know I have left clothes and like I'm like, maybe I need to throw these away because these
Yeah,
are gonna walk out of here. They're so foul and stench. And when I
yeah,
have moments like that, right, I have to stop and say, honey, what's going on? What's going on that you're not present?
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I have to say, like, what is it that you just decided to just go in autopilot mode and just
yeah, for
cruise through
sure.
here? What's what's happening here? That you think somebody
Shh.
coming in here doing your laundry? You don't even want to do
Every
your
day,
laundry. Why would you think somebody else is breaking in here to do your laundry?
because you just forget. Like, well, and I got two boys here, right? So I'll do
Uh-huh.
laundry, or one of them will do laundry. So sometimes I know it's not me. It's like, okay, it could have been one of us three that did that. But that happens so many times with so much stuff in my space a day that it's just
Hmm. Hmm.
special. Like I
So
don't understand.
I wonder what and you know me, I'm always trying to figure stuff out, right? I'm
Right.
like, I want to know the origin of everything, good,
Right.
bad, or ugly. Like, what is that? And a lot of times, that when you're on autopilot, sometimes that's like a stress response. That right there
Okay.
is like a
Yeah,
it's like a
yeah.
stress response. You know what I'm saying? Like
I can see that.
I'm so overwhelmed. I don't know. I don't see an outlet here, and I don't know what to do. So that's your mind's way of trying to just kind of relax without having a
Yeah.
breakdown. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
it's like, well,
Yes.
there's a scripture, and I'm not making this that, but there's a scripture that talks about how we are fearfully and wonderfully made. And with all I'm gonna say about that is this: with all of the different uh psychologists and all of the different ADHD and all the different mental health titles now that are out there and mental health diagnoses that are out there, the fact that God allows our body to kind of defend itself by way of all going on autopilot before a
Yeah.
breakdown, I think is
Yeah.
phenomenal. Now, people want to diagnose it and they want to do all kinds of other stuff, but I think that's God's way of saying, I need you to relax. And I need you to, you know what I'm saying? Like, think about it. Like, if like parts of our body could just
I don't
regenerate
know
itself.
if my ADHD is God's way of telling me to chill. I've been chilling for a really long time. I'm gonna need Him to let me unchill.
Well, and see, I'm gonna say this. Now this is Crystal's opinion. This is Honey Caramel's opinion about ADHD. I'm not saying it's the gospel. And y'all don't have to go home and fire y'all therapist, okay? That's not what I'm telling y'all to do. But I want to say, and China, me and you had this conversation on the regular. I'm always trying to re-diagnose a diagnosis, right? And I
Yep.
just feel like, if in general the stuff that people call ADHD, I don't really think it's a bad thing that you're able to multitask and that you're able to have multiple thoughts going on at the same time and still manage to get stuff
Yep.
done. Now,
Yep.
if you are crashing and burning, if you can't get stuff done, if because you're going from one thought to the next, okay, but how wonderfully made am I that I'm able to have a conversation with you and think about what I'm gonna do tomorrow at the same time, and think and
Right.
remember what happened yesterday at the same time. In my opinion, okay, I feel like that's only a problem when you're not productive. That's only a problem when you can't get nothing done. I remember hearing this lady say, she was a coach, and she said, so let me get this straight. So if a person, before they get ready to leave the house for the day, if they go back in their house and go back in every room and make sure the lights are out, and if they go back and make sure the iron is unplugged, and they go back and make sure that the stove is turned off, why do you have to diagnose that? Why can't they just be a person that's careful?
Yeah.
Why do they have to have
Yeah,
OCD?
but being somebody
What?
who's being with somebody, I've lived with somebody who legit had OCD, and it was a trauma response for her. It was my mom. It was a trauma response for my mom because
Okay.
her stepmom, that she just made her clean all the time, and it was a whole thing. And everything had to be a certain way. But the problem becomes is if you know that you have a habit or someone is saying you got to have it and it's affecting everybody else around you, then I do think you should be aware of yourself
Yeah.
and have to do what you have to. Because if you're, speaking personally, because I work with a few people that it's like, yeah, I understand you don't want to take meds and stuff, but you have to be productive, you have to be a professional, you have to work. So how are you not, you know what I'm saying? Like, how are you not taking your medication? Like, I feel like there's different kinds of people. I feel like there's people that know they need to take their meds and they take them and they feel better. Not everyone, right? Just that needs it. And then you have your people that know they need to take their meds, but then they take them and they feel better. And then they stop taking them because they feel better. Not realizing that what's making them feel better is because they're taking their medication.
It's because they're taking the medication. I
And
think
that's mind boggling to me.
I think in my opinion, I think sometimes the reason why they do that is because there's always side effects. And as soon as they start to feel better, they
Yeah.
start to feel the side effects of it. And they're like, oh, you know what I mean? But it's kind of like a catch 22 at that point. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, okay, then you got to ask yourself, what are the side effects compared to what do I do when I'm not medicated, right?
Yeah, most
And
of those
I would
ones
go with
though,
the
the side
lesser.
effects is just the first couple weeks you're drowsy, or the first 3 or 4 weeks you're drowsy. And I get it, it sucks, but I would have much rather been drowsy and sick for 4 weeks versus having
Out in the
anxiety all the
woods
time or
and
whatever that person's ailment.
right, right.
You know
Or
what I'm
out in the
saying?
woods and having somebody come look for you.
Right. And the thing is too is that not everyone that, you know, is taking a medication has to be on it for forever.
Right.
Some people can take medication until they go get the assistance that they've needed, kind of like how we've been talking about. Like my child, for example, he was on Adderall, and people had all kinds of stuff to say, but whatever, whatever. If you knew my son, you knew it was what it was. But he got to be a certain age where he didn't want to be on it anymore, and he was young, but he told me, it's like, I don't want to take this anymore. And I was like, all right. I was like, I'll let you stop taking it, but if your grades plummet, if you start getting in trouble, if you can't focus, then we're gonna have to put you back on it. And I want to say that that was in like 6th grade, and he hasn't been on it since.
Yeah, I always
So
want
I
to
think
know.
everybody, everybody's different, obviously.
Well, I also always want to know, and I always ask the question. Like I do, I believe in taking medication. I believe in going to the doctor. I believe in following a care plan, right?
Hmm.
Until you're able to see different, until you're able
Yeah.
to feel different. Like I'm all for that. However, I also don't believe that the doctor has the final word. And what I mean by that
Oh yeah, no,
is
I agree too.
like
Not every
if
doctor knows everything.
well, and I'm like, try it, right? I'm all for trying the medication until it doesn't work. But I also like to take medication saying, I'm going to go ahead and take this medication, but I'm only going to take it for a certain amount of time. Because if there's just, I don't want to be dependent on stuff for the rest of my life. So I'm going to take this long enough to get me to calm down so that I can see things clearly. And then once I'm able to see things clearly, then I'm going to say, okay, so what is it? What adjustment here do I need to make? You know what I'm saying?
Just make sure
Sometimes
that you keep taking it while you're making those decisions.
right, exactly. Like while you're clear, right? While you're on it and you're starting to get some clarity, I think that's the time to go ahead and dig deep and say, what happened or what's going on that I have to take this, right? What event happened that got me walking backwards now? What didn't happen that got me like this? What am I dealing with mentally and emotionally that has me to the place where I have to depend on this for a while? Again, I'm the first person. I will beat you to the doctor's office. I will beat you running to the pharmacy to get my prescription filled, right? Because I do think it's necessary. But I already have it in my head. I'm only gonna take this for 6 months before we figure something else out. I'm only gonna take this for
Want to do everything other than medication unless I have to. And
uh-huh.
then we always go that route. And then if I have to, I have to. It is what it is. I have a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But I always try to go the other routes first so that I don't have to take yet another pill. And especially because
Hmm.
we're women, I have to take acid reflux pills every day. I'm going to have to take them for the rest of my life. But
Hmm.
it takes away our calcium. And she was like, you're not supposed to take it. And I'm like, well, what can I take to offset this? And then I had to start taking calcium, which is fine. You do what you have to do. But All right,
I
homie.
want.
So what are we chit chatting about this evening?
So we started off initially talking about changing with the change, and that tree has so many branches that I don't think we will ever really exhaust that. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Um, so I guess my question is, what change? I think we alluded to a little bit of it last time, but what change were you kind of forced to make that looking back you made a big deal out of it and it really wasn't a big deal at all and it really worked for you and you should have did it a long time ago?
I mean, that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's a lot of stuff if you think about it. But um, at the, I feel like at the moment, I have finally decided that there's just certain things I'm no longer willing to settle for. I'm no longer willing to settle for certain stuff that I'm just over it. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting older. I don't know what it is. But I'm to the point where if it's not fitting the puzzle piece where I need it to go, it's got to go. And it takes a lot for me to not be able, first of all, to get a puzzle piece to fit because I'm very laid back. I am super easy to deal with. I adapt to other people's situations. I'm not selfish when it comes to bending. You know what I'm saying? For a friend, if I know they're going to bend for me or a relationship or whatever. But I feel like I have my circle. I don't want it to increase. I tried that. And, you know, over the last 4 or 5 months, found out that not every female is a girly's girl. You know, some females are just trifling. And so my circle is where I want it to be. My relationship is where I want it to be. My kids are where I want them to be. My job, you know, it is what it is. We'll get there eventually. Um, so for me, I guess it's just about keeping all that stuff, you know, maintained and what I'm willing to sacrifice or give up or change. And at this point, I'm not. And I kind of had to make that decision yesterday. Me and um, a secondhand acquaintance doesn't want to live up to certain responsibilities that come with his secondhand little person that belongs to him. And normally I'm real passive aggressive and I let stuff go, but I've had it. I've had it. It gets to a point where you can only bend so much for somebody. So I'm just to the point where I'm okay with changing on certain stuff or adapting to what I have to change to at the time. But as of 5/5/2026, 8:22 p.m., I'm stubborn right now. I'm in selfish mode at the moment because selfish mode motivates me. Selfish mode as far as like being selfish and sinking all my energy into my kids or you know into my family versus giving all my energy to my job to outside environments. I haven't even really been going out that much.
That's interesting. Because I think, like for me, and I've had people say this to me, and I'm like, yeah, 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 blah, blah, blah. Um, blah, 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 blah. But recently, but I've recently,
That part.
that's right, blah, blah, blah. But I've recently had to come to the realization you have exhausted this level. And it's time for you to level up. It's time for you to make the necessary adjustments, i.e., it's time for you to get self centered so that you can get to where you need to be.
Yes. So if
And
you look at the thing I posted in the the thing I posted in on our page and the tree thingy,
yeah,
this thing,
uh huh, uh huh.
that's kind of what we were talking about. What you're even
Hmm.
saying that you know it got to a point where I had to just let certain stuff go,
Hmm.
even though it's hard for me to tell this person that's it.
What's going on with that cat?
Huh?
What's going on with the cat?
What are you talking about?
Do I hear a cat hissing in the background? I don't know why I feel like I hear a cat hissing. It's probably I'm probably stressed. No, go, go ahead.
I have a fan on, but I
Oh,
think that would be
I don't
like
know.
a
It's like I
constant.
hear a cat. I hear a cat hissing. But
Uh-uh.
okay, go ahead.
um, yeah, it's me. I don't like confrontation. So if I can bob and weave and adapt, I will. But sometimes you just can't bob and weave anymore, and that's
No,
kind of where I'm at.
and there comes a point where, for me, I've noticed the issue that you think you got with other people is not the issue with other people. It's the issue with you. You
Hmm.
keep allowing stuff because you're not
Yep.
selfishly focused. If you became selfishly focused, then half the issues you have with people wouldn't even exist and it would go away
Yep.
because you're selfishly focused. You know what I'm
No, you're
saying?
right. Hmm.
And there are some things that I've had to look in the mirror and say, remember when you were in your 20s and you said you wanted this, this, and this? Remember when you was in your 30s and you wanted this and this? Like what happened? Because although you're not still in your
Life.
20s, although you're not still in your 20s, you're breathing. You are
Yep.
still breathing.
Yep.
And yes, a lot of stuff has happened that has gotten me to see stuff differently, but we're not going to take away the fact that you can either keep that as lemons, or you can turn that into lemonade and say, I got wisdom now through experience, through bad experiences, through painful experiences, through experiences that didn't make sense. I now got wisdom to go back and do the things that I desired when I was in my 20s. I'm gonna put this out here, and this a question. This ain't for you to say yes or no to. This is just for you to think about. Think about the stuff that you said and desired to do when you were in your 20s. And most people say, well, I'm in my 40s now. I'm knocking 50 at the door. There's no way I could do what I saw myself doing in my 20s, or there's no way now, so much time has went by that there's no way I could do it now. Can I suggest that maybe the vision was given to you in your 20s so that you can glean all the wisdom you needed so that you can execute it in your 40s, that it was never for you to execute in your 20s?
Well,
It was it
let
was
me
a
say this, and you can answer. Let me say this to you. We also need to normalize that a lot of us that were in our 20s had no idea what we wanted to do.
not a clue, and it was okay.
When I
No clue.
graduated, I went straight to college because nobody else did in my
Mm-hmm.
family, and I didn't want to end up like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to college. That lasted a whole year and a half because I hate uh
Mm-hmm.
but I I had dude, I wasted I wouldn't even have got serious about anything had I not had my son. When I got pregnant when I was 25.
But I'm gonna tell you
Woo,
though.
because I didn't know what I wanted to
But
do.
that's the point that I'm trying to make. A lot of people say, "Well, I wasted my 20s and I wasted my 30s." But why? But why couldn't it not have been that you didn't have what you needed in your 20s and 30s? That you're just now coming into a level of
Hmm.
maturity in your 40s, and
Hmm.
that's okay. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I
Yeah,
kind of went down that road. Like, well, I'm in my 40s and I wanted to do this, and I feel weird just trying to start this in my 40s because I know people in their 20s, and I should have. And if I would have saved money in my 20s, then I would be able to have what? Because
I
the
feel
stuff.
like a lot of people our age feel. I feel like a lot of people our age are actually experiencing that, because a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
our age, in our age group, are owning their own little businesses. A
Yeah.
lot of people have started their own cleaning businesses, maintenance companies, lawnscaping companies, tow companies, just whatever it was that they liked to do or was good at or could deal with. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
people went out and made their own little stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was never comfortable doing that because growing up poor, I when I got out the house, I had to know when I was getting paid, how much my paycheck was going to be, so I could plan out my life accordingly. But I wish I could go back and not have been so scary and done stuff. But like you said, there's certain things that I can't do, unfortunately, just because I don't have finances or credit to do owning certain things business wise. However, I can get started on a small scale, just like you're doing right now. Totally motivated me to do what I'm doing now. And, whatever level we start at, I'm not doing nothing else. I might as well.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this to every woman that is listening and will listen later on. That every woman that's in her 30s, every woman that's in her 40s, and feel like I waited too late. Now, granted, if you want to go back to college, you can. You can't go back and sleep on the college campus and the dorms
Right,
every day too. But if you want to go back to school, you can. But for all of those women who feel like I wish I would have did it in my 20s, I wish I would have did it straight out of high school. I wish I would have did it then. I'm going to say this to you to kind of unhook yourself because that is a snare. Um, the wisdom that you need, the wisdom that you needed to do the things that you desire to do, you didn't have it in your 20s.
right.
The hand that you needed to have to be able to pull that off, you wasn't dealt that hand in your 20s, and you didn't have that hand in your 20s.
No.
So unhook yourself and say, you know what? You're right. I didn't have the foresight in my 20s. I didn't have the wisdom to pull that off in my 20s. I didn't have the know how to research stuff in my 20s the way that I can do it now. And watch this. I didn't even have the emotional stamina to pull off a lot of the things that I wish I would have did
Yeah,
and started off in my 20s. And all I'm gonna say is just know that nothing's wasted. I know we half of the time we say we wasted time and wasted life is because we're looking at another 20-year-old. We're looking at somebody who's 20 years younger than us and
right,
saying, man, I should have did that. When they're not the barometer. We
right,
don't
right,
know. They're only doing it now because of the resources they have to do it. If you had those resources back then, you probably would have pulled it off. And I'm gonna say this because I used to cry and be like, man, if I wish I would have started my entrepreneurial ventures back when when I graduated high school. I'm like, nobody encouraged me. I was taught, hey, you get a job with a computer, you get a job working in somebody's office with good benefits, and you work that job and keep your head down until you retire. I was told that year after year after year after year, all
okay,
while I was in school, right? And so, without question, that's what I did. Nobody ever said, "Hey, Crystal, while you're doing what you got to do, take time and research what it is that you actually want to do. Take
right,
the time to research what it is that you're good at doing." Right? And so, what I'm doing now with my kid, only have one, she's 7. Nothing matters right now. Nothing's important to her right now. However, but I've made it my point to say I'm going to pay attention to see what her gifts are, to see what her
mm-hmm,
strengths are,
yep,
and I'm going to guide her in that direction so that I'm not busy. And this is no knock on parents. This is because again, each generation is different. And each generation passes down what they got from the generation before. That's all that is. And you only
right,
do what you know, right? But my child, she can't just stay home and help me pay bills. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not gonna put her out. because she 18. We're not doing that.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I'm not on that.
I've had to deal with that. And I'm gonna say this, just and it sounds like we talking all around the world, but trust me, I'm gonna bring it back. Just because your child is 18 don't mean that they're old enough to go hacking on their own. You
No.
understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so my prayer has been, God, not only help me to pay attention to what my child's strengths are, but to help me to pay attention to her timing, because I may feel like she's ready for something that she's not ready for. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? When
I
we went
do
to the dentist,
because I've got two of them, and Brian to this day he has no idea what he wants to do.
hmm
But Brody said it when he was like 5. I'm going to be a builder. I'm going to build a big house for all my children. And I'm like, you don't even know what the word children means. And he's going his junior year. He'll be a sophomore next year. His junior year and senior year, he'll do the building program here. And
perfect.
that's what he wants to do. And I told him, I said, nobody's going to trade schools anymore. So this is something that you can think of for your daughter as she's moving through the school systems and moving through the years where our kids go to school. There's different kind of classes that they can take to get certifications while they're in high school. So Brody decided, I was telling Brody, I said, when my older son got a scholarship, we had to go to the little thing, and the trade schools came in. This was just a couple years ago, and said that they had started creating all these scholarships because kids were no longer going into trade. They were going to college or going to the service, but nobody's wanting to be an electrician or a plumber. So the way that the school is, you'll go into this builder program, but if there's something that you like, that you feel you want to specialize in, electricity, plumbing, HVAC, whatever, the school will take you that route.
Okay.
So he wants to be a plumber. And I told him, I said, that's dope because you can get the training, get a job with a company, or you can get the training and then start your own business right off rip.
Right off rip.
And I wish that when I was in school, somebody would have done that for me, because we had
Yeah.
those programs here, like cosmetology was a
Yeah.
big thing I could have done. And also, something else I learned, you only have one, but it's crazy when you have two because we're always harder on the first one, and then you lean up, you ease up a little bit because you learn more. I would not allow my oldest son to work. I didn't. I was
hmm
like, no, you're not working. You're enjoying being a
Being a
kid.
kid.
I started working when I was 14. I was like, I want you to enjoy life. That was a huge mistake.
hmm
Huge mistake,
hmm
because he did not get socialized out there that way.
hmm
When he freshly graduated and it was a full-time college student, he had the hardest time getting a job because he didn't
mm
have any
He
experience. It
didn't
did
have
not matter that he had
experience.
just graduated. And I'm like, that is silly.
Yeah.
But you also could no longer go into the store, see a manager, go up and
And
introduce
have a
yourself.
conversation.
Right. Now it's, oh, there's the kiosk, go
Yep.
online,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep.
And that was new to me. So
Yeah.
now, when my youngest was like, I want a job, he was 14, went straight to the fast food chain and got a job.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was like, oops.
And see, and my kid is young. She's only 7, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
already in my head prepared to say, try it all.
That's good.
Try it all until you find what you like. And
Yep.
it's there's no wrong answers. There's no
Mm-hmm.
wrong answers here. It's either I like it or I don't. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And
Especially
I'm
at
going
this
to,
age.
yeah, and I'm going to support you so that you don't have to, that you can fully put yourself into it and not have to worry about, oh, I need to make money for rent, or the light bill,
Mm-hmm.
oh the da da da, oh the da da da, da 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 da. I
Dude,
just
teach
don't. I
her
can't.
teach her side hustles too. And I'm not trying to sound funny. Teach
Mhm.
her how to braid.
So wait, so let's talk about this. Let's
And
talk
I'm
about
not
the
trying to be funny. I hope I, you know what
no,
I'm saying? But all
no,
I
no,
know is if
no,
I wish I knew how to braid, you know how much
no.
money I'd be making on the side right now?
So let's bring this conversation back full circle about that. So remember I said that, oh my God, what if I would have did this when I was
Mm-hmm.
20, right? And I remember praying and I said, you know, God, I'm gonna be honest. I'm close to mid 40s now. I don't have 10 years to go to school to learn anything.
Right. Right.
If I can't get it off of YouTube University, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm like, but I need to. Girl, I'm working on a PhD from YouTube University, okay?
That's right.
Listen. So I said, God, if there's some kind of way I could be fast tracked or accelerated, like man, that'd be phenomenal. So back in the day, I used to want just I just was interested, but not interested enough to go to school for. But I was always interested in cosmetology, like doing hair and stuff like that. My mom would let me roll her hair. My grandma would let me give her some little jailhouse braids to the back and stuff like that. And but I never went to cosmetology school. And so now that I'm this age, I'm like and seeing how the world is evolving and moving. And I said we need something in addition to the 9 to 5, right? We need something on the side that in the event this one thing shuts down, we can pick this thing up over here and not miss a beat and still keep it
Exactly.
moving, right? So and I said, but God, I said, but I don't have 10 years to try to walk in with that level of certification or that level of professionalism. Fast forward, do you know that the Ohio s- um, State Board of Cosmetology has a what they call a boutique license that you can get that the you can do 4 services. You can shampoo hair, you can braid hair, you can do 2 other services for free. You get the certificate for free. I went onto their website and I applied for it and I got it right on the spot. So if anything jump off, I could go in somebody's salon today, show
Nice.
them that, and
And braid hair.
they can let me stand and braid hair, or they can stand me up
See,
at a
that's so
shampoo
dope.
bowl and
That's
let
so
me.
dope.
You understand what I'm saying? And
Yeah,
so
that's super smart.
I'm saying that to say where we thought we missed it in our 20s. I think there's a shortcut for us in our 40s because I didn't have to do a bunch of hours for cosmetology.
Well,
It,
that's because we grew up in the 90s.
yeah, well, you had to do,
Have all this
yeah.
knowledge at
So
our fingertips. Yeah, we
I
didn't
I
have
can
online
do,
college.
but that's the point that I'm trying to
Yeah,
make.
yeah.
Did we miss anything? Because now stuff is
Not
being
really.
accelerated,
Yeah.
so we can get off of what I should have did in my 20s. Because guess
Yep.
what? Nobody had common sense in their 20s.
Right.
Nobody.
Well,
And
and
the
if you think
20 year
about it, you would have had to probably buy like if I like when I went on to the Chat GPT and I wanted to learn about FCRA and the CRA, I it was like, oh, do you want me to put you a study manual together? Yes, I do.
you do.
You
Right.
know,
Right.
thank
And Shauna,
you.
we couldn't
And
have
it made
got
me
that
a
20
practice
years
test and
ago.
everything. And
Yeah.
no, you would
We
have had
couldn't
to
have
go to
got
the
that.
bookstore. You would have had to buy a book. You would have had to read the whole book with the bold letters to figure out what they
Or
was going to focus on.
you wouldn't have gotten the book unless you signed
No.
up and paid for the class. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Back then, you wasn't getting the material unless you was in the class. There was no
Well,
book.
you could like Akron Youth always had a bookstore. Like you can go into any Akron Youth bookstore. You don't have to be a student to buy a book. But how would you even know if you weren't a
Correct.
student or know that it's a resource to even have done something like that? You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to make is we didn't miss anything. We
Mm-mm.
now have information at our fingertips that was not readily available 20 years ago. You
Right.
understand what I'm saying? So I think we can dry our eyes and let that regret go of what we did not do in our 20s and 30s because
Yeah.
it can be accelerated and it's being accelerated and fast tracked now. Like who would
Yep.
have thought I could go stand up in somebody's salon and I have not been to
Yeah.
cosmetology school.
That's
I
neat. I
cannot
didn't
if
know
I
that
wanted to
either.
do I'm gonna show it to you. I think I'm a text it to you, Shorty.
Did
Like
you see
makeup
how them
artists, I
white
can
chicks were
go.
like playing with girls' hair? Like they have these one girls that go, they travel now because they're on social media, and they
Mhm.
just play with girls' hair. The girls sit in a chair with their face in the circle, and these chicks play with their hair.
And making a bunch of money to do nothing.
I went
They're
online.
making a bunch.
Yeah, girl, I went
I mean,
online. I
but
was like, I wonder if you have to, you know, but it was weird because if you worded it a certain way, or if it was like bringing relief to someone in a therapeutic way, you had to have like a certain license or whatever. But I'm just like, how, if I'm playing with somebody's hair,
all I'm gonna say is
all
this.
I know is I would pay for someone
I'm
to
a
play with my hair.
Shauna. I'm on the way. $25 to wash your hair. I'll shampoo your hair for you.
Girl, I'll look, you ain't even gotta wash it. I'll do it for you and blow dry it. Just come over and go like this. Just come over and do this. I would pay some.
So So
Oh,
like, so I'm like, okay, bet. I got that. I'm about to be in the salon, push come to shove. I can go shampoo and braid some hair, do some makeup. And it falls under the MUA too. So if I want to call myself a makeup artist, I can. I have the license to back me.
oh, that's
And like
dope. Okay.
I can. And if I want
And
to do
those
like
are
dread,
things that they have in certain salons. One of the salons that I used to get my hair cut at, I just can't go there anymore because it's too expensive. But they have a whole makeup area and they have a makeup specialist. It was really cool. It was like, especially
so
like around this time of year with prom, a
yeah.
whole make.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You
Yeah.
know, now I don't have the patience to do it right now. However, I
I mean,
don't. But
27 year
it's
old.
one
It's
of those
not
it's
like
one of
you
those
got somebody
things.
willing to be like, oh, hey, bring her here and I got you. You know what I'm saying?
But it's like one of those things. Let times get hard enough, baby.
Yeah.
But I will. Now I'm working in the. I'm in the salon. It's just as simple. Another thing that I'm working on too is the HR. Remember when you had to have a million years of experience to be in HR, and you had to have a degree to be in HR. Now you just have to have a certification, and you can get in with your
It
with
it
your
shows.
certification.
It shows what some
Stop
people
your madness. Stop your madness. You about to start your foolery. But all you have to do, don't start it. Don't start it. I don't want to have to shut it down. Don't do it. Don't do it. We're not there yet, Shauna.
I don't
We're
know what you're talking about.
we're not
Boots.
there yet. But like now if you with the certificate, you can at least get in as entry level with no
Yeah,
experience. And
that's dope.
so and another thing that I used to cry about, I used to wish that I went straight to the military when I graduated high school, because I was like, if I would have went to the military when I graduated high school, I could be retired now, right? Because all you needed was 20 years. Right? I could be retired at 40 years old, right? Just doing what I want to do. And I used to sing that song for years. I shoulda, coulda, woulda. And I actually thought about it, but by the time I thought about it, because the army, by the way, and here we go again, the army has laxed their entry thing requirement now. You can sign up in the
Yeah,
army all
because
the way
it
up
was
into
different when we were
36.
younger. It was different when we were younger.
Yeah. Now
I
they're
looked
like,
into
you can,
ROTC, but when I found out you had to rappel off the building, that was it for me. I was like, I ain't doing that. I'm
well,
scared of heights.
all the branches are different. All of their requirements are different. You know what I'm saying? So
Well,
there's
I
the
I found when I was in high school, someone introduced me to a plant, and all my ambitions went out the window at that moment.
hilarious,
So,
hilarious. So I never it was never about a specific branch for me. It could have been the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, whatever. Because my dad was in the Army, my sister
okay.
was in the Air Force,
Oh, okay.
my brother went to both the Army and the Air Force. My no, he went to the Marines and the Army. So It wasn't like I that concept was foreign to me.
Right.
I just didn't do it. And I was like, oh, I can't do anything with this. Should have went to the military and worked for the government. And now I found out that I could do government contracting. I can get contracts with the government and the government will pay me.
To
So
do
now
what?
I'm registered. Um it's a thing called GovCon where you can get contracts with the government to if you have an LLC, they buy services all the time. Half the stuff that the government uses, they buy off of people. They buy from other businesses. So they're not out here pretty much doing their own thing. So like, you know, and I'll go into detail about that off show. But like, okay, so I got an LLC and registered. So I'm saying all the things that I said that I thought were lost and were gone, it's like not only am I going to give you an opportunity to do it, but I'm going to fast track it for you. So
Right.
that way the requirements are not as grueling. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So I think
absolutely.
if we could just calm down enough to go back to what either what we desired to do when we were in our 20s, or go back and say, if I had it to do all over again, what would I have focused on in my 20s, and then go from there and say, okay, like I can't go, I can't do it this way, but what is the more condensed way of me doing this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, for sure.
and my one friend said, girl, it's gonna be a whole lot of hairdressers mad at you because you didn't spend a dime or a nickel, and you about to be standing up in somebody's shop and they went to class and spent 13 plus
Yeah.
$1,000. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying the whole point of all of what I was saying tonight is go back and look at what you crying about that you wish you would have did, and
Yeah.
say, I couldn't do it 20 years ago, but what would it look like for me 20
To do
years
it.
later to do it now? It may
Yep.
not look like it would have looked 20 years ago because you don't have access to what was jumping off 20 years ago.
Right.
But with what we got now, what would that
Yeah.
look like now?
Yeah. And you're adding on 20 years of, you
On the
know,
job training, real life
yeah. Thank you.
experience.
I had a brain fart. 20 years of experience, 20 years of, just learning so many different things. I mean, there's so many. I don't even, the amount of information that my brain has absorbed in the last 20 years is ridiculous. Like, it erased the first 20 years. You know what I'm saying? And the stuff that I've always been able to have a side hustle. Oh,
Like, see, look at this
but
book.
I got,
You see this book?
mhm,
Is it backwards?
it's back.
What? Okay. But I'm just, and I've already went through this book, and you know what I mean? It's like,
That's what's up.
get it, got it, and we're done with it. You know what I mean? Like,
The
I don't
girl, the
know
stuff,
about
look,
you.
when I was looking at the stuff to get the FCRA thing or whatever, I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be like this huge packet of information and blah, blah, blah. It's like
That's
three
it,
pages.
Shauna?
It's
That's
like,
it?
well, if that's it for us, because
Yeah.
FCRA or whatever the freaking abbreviation is, and FDCPA are so the same in the same wheelhouse. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we've taken the FDCPA test how many times? 18, or at
Mm-hmm.
least how many times have you taken it?
Out
50.
beyond who, yeah, girl, who
So
knows?
your timer just went out.
I
So
did.
as many times as we've taken it, so the FCRA, it's pretty much the same thing. It's pretty much
Okay.
the same thing, but not based on credit.
Okay.
Instead of it being based on credit, it's based off of facts and what you're allowed to do to another person
Okay.
without them knowing. And it's a very thin line until you get your PI license.
Okay.
So once I do the FCRA and then the CRA, which is not, it's not a lengthy process. You just have to have the money. Um,
Mm-hmm.
then I'll look into my PI. because I also learned that this is not a state by state thing.
Oh, it's not.
No, this is these are the rules for just like FDCPA. It's across the board. It's the same because it's all federal.
Okay. Okay.
So that was a comfort because I was like, well, what if I ever leave Ohio, um, and I want to do this in another state or whatever? Am I going to be able to? And I would say before me and you started talking and stuff about all the stuff we've talked about, um, I don't know if I would have. I don't know if I would have been comfortable enough to do this, but there's been a lot of stuff in the past 90 days, I feel like, that ourselves and a lot of people in our immediate circle, you know what I'm saying, have gone through. And it's been a very awakening moment. It,
Sobering. Do you
yeah,
understand?
yeah, that you went from feeling security to, oh my God, and you know what I'm saying? And then you calm down because you realize it's not as critical, at least not for me as it was for others. Blessed, thank you God, like real talk, not in a facetious way. Very thankful for that. Um, but it was way it was a wake up call to me. Like, look, and not even in my own situation as far as like 1 + 1 = 2, just the company itself. More or less, you could literally be in any scenario with any employer. And, there was the one company that let go of 60,000 people because they went to AI. So,
Just like that.
yeah. So it's like, well, and we even seen with COVID, we talked about this the other day. Before COVID, I had the perfect side hustle. I could make t shirts. There wasn't nothing I couldn't make. And there was only a handful of us that could do it. And people would find you out and they would come to you. And COVID took my customer base away. And then during COVID, every house mom, every female in the world went and bought a Cricut or started doing diamond painting. I don't know if anyone else did that. I did that. I did one of them. God, that was stupid with the little diamonds. I mean, I even built a miniature room during COVID. We were so bored. And I wasn't even
Mm-hmm.
laid off during COVID. I worked.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm to the point where, because that woke me up, I'm just on a different kind of journey. I'm on a journey of, can I build something? What can I build?
That is the
I have
first
a
question.
Yeah, because
One
I have
is,
a
can
billion
I?
different things in my brain. So it's like, which one of those things over the last 20 some years that I've thought of is really a good idea for me to pick and say, okay, let's try this.
Mm-hmm.
And, by talking to your friends or your circle or whoever, you get to start, okay, this might not be something I could do now, but this and this is something I could do now so that I can go back and do this at another time. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what I'm trying. I'm just throwing stuff out there and seeing what sticks. Because at
Mm-hmm.
this moment, I haven't spent any money. Now,
Mm-hmm.
money will be spent when I go to get my license, but I know that I can use that. I've already met someone who turned it into a business, and he went from having to work to that was his job. And I'm like, all that over, 2, 3 grand of licensing. I can do that.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I'm saying. Like it what I don't care what nobody say. To look at it, to try it, to do it now. No, I don't think we could have did that in our 20s. I don't think we could have did it in our 20s. We
No.
say should have, and the reason why we say we should have is because we're talking about all the things, all of the hardship that we possibly could have avoided.
Hmm.
But the reality is, I think we needed the hardship to get to
Well,
this
and
point.
I wouldn't even, if you think about it, most of the stuff that we know, we wouldn't even have known, was an option.
Right. We didn't have the and
No.
I think in every trade and everything that you do, there is a life experience component that you
Oh
will
yeah,
never be able to get around.
for sure.
And
Agree.
people get that component, people get at different rates. And people got to go through certain things. You know what I'm saying? Like there are certain things that I had to experience before I could sit in a seat and be able to encourage another woman. You
Right.
understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying? To
for
be
sure, for
able to
sure.
tell another woman that you can pick your head up after a heartbreak, that you can, love again and desire again after a heartbreak. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
that
for
you that
sure.
you you know what I'm saying? That you
And
can look in the mirror and adjust some things in you so that you can attract better and so that you could be better and so that you could, you know what I'm saying? I,
yeah,
I wouldn't know that if I didn't have to do that for me.
right.
You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
and I would have never, I would have never even fathomed the part of, oh, well, I have to grow to let baggage go so that I can experience new things so that I can continue to grow up to here. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that I don't know why it took me a minute to grasp because I guess I just thought that, I watched my mom. My mom didn't have any friends. Like, she had a couple here and there, but not really. And I always thought that sucked. You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go to the movies. You don't want to go out to lunch. I love having a bunch of girlfriends I can go do stuff with. Um, and it was just like, it was weird to me that she didn't have that. So I kind of got to the point where it was just like, well, I just want to be friendly, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? But then you get to that point where as you start getting better, more productive, and understanding stuff, some of that baggage that you picked up along the way, just because you wanted to make sure that you had friends to go do stuff with, is going to get left behind. And it doesn't mean that you're better or right and they're not. You're just, maybe you just didn't realize that you were two different people at that time, whatever. And I didn't like that saying at first. Um, I have walked away from, I told you I walked away from a whole therapist because he said that to me. And I was like, what? I'm not going to give up my relationship or my friends because I'm going to get mentally healthier. That didn't make sense to me.
Right.
I got defensive because I didn't understand. But
Hmm.
but years later, and her later, she was right. As we move on, stuff gets left behind. We get a different mindset again, not better or right, just different for us that makes us now not compatible with that original,
And I'm gonna say
situation.
this, I've had to learn to say this, and I still say it to this day. I'm allowed to change my mind.
Facts.
I'm
At the
allowed to
end
do
of the
I'm
day.
allowed to do that. And I on purpose specifically have to say that during the times in which I'm working on something and it's not working for me, and I've come up with all these reasons as to why it should work and it ain't working. Oh, it's time to change your mind about this.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Well,
Like,
yeah, and
oh, we gotta change
I
our
don't
mind
even
about
know if
this.
that's you changing your mind as far. I think that's just part of growth. Like, you know what I mean? You just, something I might not have thought was one way, and
Do
then
you know how many people are in their 60s that they're like, no, I was taught this growing up and this is what it is?
hmm
So I think changing your mind, I think you have to make a choice to do that. There
yeah,
are some
yeah,
things, I
yeah,
agree. There are some things that's like, girl, I'm in my 40s. Ain't nobody on that. Because 40
right.
determined that we not on
Mhm.
that. You know what I'm saying? 40 determined that.
Perimenopause decided
But
I wasn't on it.
yeah, right. But then there are some things where it's like, no, I have to tell me, we not on that. We not doing that no more.
Yeah,
I know you like to do that, but the last time you did that, it cost you too much money. The
yeah.
last time you did that, you had to spend 3 weeks crying yourself to sleep at night.
Oh,
So
well, then
we not
you're serious. Yeah.
we not finished. We not doing that. I know you like that, but we not doing that no more.
No.
No, we gonna go ahead
Also,
on the block them.
I don't. I don't know how many times I have to have this conversation, but I wish more people would understand this. I wish more people, especially females, would understand there is no point in giving energy to a situation, a person, or anything that is not going to make you better at the end of the day. And I cannot tell you how many freaking conversations that I've been having lately where it's well, this person did this, or it's like, dude, you're 48 years old, 47, 46 years old. Why do you care if you tell this person you don't want to do something and it hurts their feelings because you don't want to do something they want to do? Like, who cares? Like, there's no way. Look at that. Alrighty, then you're on there 3 times. What is
Am
this?
I?
Let me hide that. What the heck?
I'm back.
Oh, so I didn't know that you was gone. It didn't show that you had left, that you rejoined, and I was like, oh, I'm just sitting here talking to my. Um, what I what I was saying was basically just like, you get to a. I'm gonna be real with you, just because you came in, I don't even remember what the hell I was just talking about.
I got
I don't remember.
it. Oh my gosh. Oh my
And
gosh.
that is why. That
Hilarious.
is why the first time I had a little thing printed out in front of me, and I'm like, doo, 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 doo. So if my brain
So
started
yeah,
going,
we
but
gotta we
I
gotta stick to a strip.
yeah, but
This
you know
post
what?
is
It has been. I'm tired. It has been a couple weeks. I'm tired. I told you I was in bed by 10:30 last night. I was over it. I'm tired.
I don't know why, but like to be honest with you, this year came in with me on a roller coaster. You know what I mean? Now I found my strength, but this year came in with me on a roller coaster. And in light of recent events, trying to get past the emotions of all of that and the fairness of all of that, and still having to say, okay, well, I gotta pivot. Like
Yeah.
I did I'm gonna be honest, I didn't realize how emotional that was gonna make me be.
Okay.
And I don't mean emotional as in tears. I
Right.
mean the anger, the confusion, the hey, that's not fair. Why
Yep.
are you allowed to do this? You shouldn't be allowed to do this, and da 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 da. And then the other part of, well, you can do what you gotta do, girl. Come on. Let's just pivot and do what we gotta do. And well, what and all the what ifs that comes with that. But what I'm
Hmm.
learning is that's just the dust of reconstructing. All of that is just the dust that comes when you're rebuilding and reconstructing. There's always dust when you're rebuilding. There's
Oh,
always
I didn't even see had somebody in the chat.
we did.
Look, we
Who's
got a
talking to
viewer.
us?
We got a viewer.
Hey. Oh, hey. Oh. Um, so I just had to say, like, you don't even take that too serious. It's always gonna be some dust when you're reconstructing. Just go ahead and keep building. whether
Facts.
whether you whether you having to build is your fault or not, it don't matter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
He's
For sure.
Is he still there or is he gone? He's probably gone already.
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So
I can't really
oh
tell what's going on between YouTube and this thing I use. So
it looks like he came in at 21 minutes, so who knows.
yeah,
But so what did we learn, class?
you are so stupid. That we can ramble. That females can ramble for an hour and 10 minutes.
Well, we can ramble, however.
I
I
learned
think
it
we
something.
learned something because I said, here was okay. So here's the main overarching theme, and write this down so that when you go back and edit, you can put this as the title for tonight.
I ain't
Um,
edited nothing.
rebuild where you at. Just build from where you're at. We can still build it. We can still have it. We can still go for it. It's
I'm
just.
super excited to do all the stuff that I'm fitting that I want to do.
Mm-hmm,
And I think too, everything has to be in line for you to be okay
mm-hmm.
to make a change like that at our age, at least for someone like me. Um, and I feel like when everything is in line and it's time for you to make that change or for you to decide what you want to do, it's gonna
Mm-hmm,
work. And that's why I said
mm-hmm,
like I get worried sometimes because I get so many different thoughts that says, "Oh, I can do this." Because anytime I've like wanted to do something and I've gone to do it, I've always been able to do it.
mm-hmm.
And then it's boring to me. So I need
Shauna,
to find something.
I
I
just had
need
that
to find
same thought.
something that I could like continue to educate myself on, that it continues to do something, because if it doesn't and it's just me conquering it and then it's done, I'm gonna get bored and I'm not gonna want no part of it. So that's why the licensing and stuff, it's something that I'm good at. It's something that I've learned to do over the past 19, 20 years. Um, and it's something that I will have to constantly educate myself on. You know what I'm saying? Like the one certification is every 2 years. So I think you have to find something that is going to keep you interested, especially at our age, because it's not about money. If it's about money, I can go DoorDash. But, if it's just about finding something to, keep the sustainability when, like you said, like if something happens and you got to go braid some hair or wash some scalp, you know,
But
I
man,
need
everything.
something.
Where you
Yeah,
what side you
like
want
I
your
want
part
something
on?
to fall back on, because you never know when that fall back on job or
Hmm.
side hustle can become something real. And I feel like I had a couple things, had I had the support that I have now, I feel like those things would have flourished. I think
Hmm.
sometimes it's more important, it's more than just you being in the universe and saying it's time. I think
Hmm.
you have to have the
Well,
circle.
and you made an interesting point when you said everything I've done was a go, was a green light for me. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I thought about it like, sometimes when you're venturing out and trying something new, there comes a point in that where you have to encourage yourself. And I had the thought today, because I kind of like panicked a little bit, like, oh God, I gotta take this test. I hope I don't fail it. And then I had to think about it and I said, Crystal, you I've had an insurance adjuster's license that you have to take a test and pass. I've had that. I've had a health and life insurance license.
Are you
Um, yeah, yes, I've had, I got my driver's license. I got, I had another license too. I've had several licensing. So to get
That's
here and
so
act
funny.
like to get here and act like you ain't gonna pass this test. Tell me of a test you've never passed. You've passed all of them.
See, I I
Like
suck at
what?
tests.
What? What? And
Give
so
me
my
like
point,
an essay test or a talking test. I got you. Give me
but
a multiple
no,
choice test. I suck.
but Shauna, the point is
I mean, I
the
got you.
things
I'm just
that
saying.
you've done.
Yeah,
Every time you put your hand to do something, you always succeeded at it.
right,
So what is it that you need now that you want to do that you're saying you can't do because you don't have X, Y, and Z? You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Hmm.
And and I thought about this. So I'm like, Crystal, you've never not had a job ever,
Right, me neither.
ever, ever. And
Yeah,
every time it was time to go, it was always a door open for you as soon as you closed the last door.
hmm
So Why are you scratching your head now? Why are you doing that? You understand what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah, I got you. No,
So I
that makes
just,
sense. I think though, I think too, as we get older, we get set in our ways.
yeah,
So
we get
doing
that
something
comfort
new,
zone.
yeah, doing something new becomes scary. But I think when you want to do something but you're scared to do it, and then you see somebody else do it, it's like, oh. So like
I,
for example, us doing this.
yeah,
I had said something to a couple of my friends. I'm like, look, I think this could be dope. You know what I mean? There's a million different ways you could do it if you wanted to.
yep.
And you know, being with someone who has their own, it was like, this is cool. Like, you know what I mean? And it was just like, if this is something that we could do. And I don't care if we're the only ones sitting here every week. If it makes me feel better at the end of the day,
I'm
just like
here
I
for it.
said, yeah, just like I said, like all the stuff that I've learned, or just from talking, just conversations or whatever. And I feel way better than I felt. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you just need to talk. Sometimes you just need to get stuff out and know that somebody's going through what you're going through, and you're not weird. You're not
And
going,
it makes what you're dealing with bearable to know
yeah,
that you're not the only person that's struggling with that.
yeah. Because when I told you earlier about the irritation with, you know what I'm saying, with baby daddy or whatever, and you were like, no, you are not crazy. That would have irritated me too. And I'm like, okay. Because,
But it
sometimes
did
as a
bother me. I was like,
female,
no, why, man?
yeah, because sometimes as a
Do that.
female, I'm like, okay, am I overreacting?
Yeah.
Um, was I being a hater? You know what
Right,
I'm
right,
saying?
right.
But I didn't even have to tell you everything before you were just like, no. And I know you well enough to know that,
I would be like, well, Shauna, yeah.
yeah.
I was
So
like,
when I
huh.
said something to you and you was kind of like, yeah, that was weird. Then I was like, all right, cool, because to me that was some dickhead movement. You know what I mean? But again, I feel like again as females, we're always taught, oh, our first reaction is insecurity.
It's an overreaction.
Yeah,
And it's
or
not.
yeah, no,
It's
no,
not. I think we're so dope as women, and I think we need to get back to that. And even if we got to, I'm all about a mantra, a affirmation or something. Even if we got to just say a million times a day, I'm so dope. I'm so dope that I do get it right the first time. I'm so dope
right,
that my first knee jerk reaction is the correct one.
right.
Because I have an internal compass. You
Well,
can't
that's what
you
we talked about with the very first one when we
Yeah.
talked about, it is women's intuition, but at the end of the day, even if you're a woman or a man, it's mostly about just recognizing patterns,
Yep.
recognizing that something doesn't sit right, and being able to say, okay, I seen this. This doesn't make sense. Whether it's a pattern or a situation, I feel like
I
if
had
it
a
makes her quick, no.
conversation I had a conversation Saturday with somebody and I just called them out on it. I said, listen, you ain't ever done that. And I don't know why you doing it now. I said, but I can give you about three reasons why you're doing it. It's either because of A, B, or C, none of which am I okay with. So I'm going to need you to just tell me which letter it is. Is it A, B, or C? Because you've never done that. And if you were to do it, it will only be because of this, this, and this. So which
Okay.
one is it? You know what I'm saying? You do have to
Yeah.
like you're not about to make me feel like I done lost a marble or that I went to bed.
Right.
No, like
I hate that.
you
Ugh.
talking to me like I got my shoes on the wrong feet. No,
I
I
get
don't.
frustrated when I have a issue or a moment or a thought or something, and instead of the other person, friend, relationship, job, whatever, instead of them just absorbing it and saying, okay, let's figure it out, it's immediately you're made to feel like you're crazy because again, oh, you're just being insecure or you're just overreacting. And sometimes, yeah, for sure, but sometimes no.
I tell you what. The next time somebody say that, I say, okay, you know what? Prove me wrong then. If I'm overreacting, you need to prove it.
I kind of feel
It's
like I just want to start answering questions with asking them the same question. Because remember, we was just joking about that the other day, and then I thought about it, and I, you know what, that lightweight makes sense because it's almost like asking somebody an open-ended question and they tell
Don't
on
do me
themselves.
like that, because I'm gonna hurt your
But
feelings. The
think
first time
about
you
it.
do that to me, when I stop laughing, I'm gonna come back and hurt your feelings.
I know because you know where it comes from. But think about it. I mean, listen, don't
Please don't.
but it works. It works. And it's like, oh, so you basically didn't have anything to do with the decision making process. You just asked me back what I just said. And basically, that was it. I had to make the decision myself, anyways. And so I feel like that's kind of where, again, 5/5/2026 at 9:20 p.m., bitch. I'm just at the point where it's like, if someone asks me a stupid question, I'm just going to answer it back with the same question that they asked me. Because if you can't answer it, how am I supposed to answer it?
All I know is you better not do it
You
to
don't even have
me.
you ain't even got
You,
nothing to say.
you better not do it to me.
I'm gonna do it to you.
Because when I finish laughing, it's going to be smoke in Barberton. I just want to let you know that.
Dude, it's is
Girl,
there
that
gonna
is
be
so.
smoke in Barberton?
It's gonna be some smoke in Barberton. You ask me, they're gonna be like, "No, why? Mm-mm. You better not do that, girl." That is to me. You want to see me just snap, crackle, and
Lose
pop? Do that
my
to me.
mind. Yeah.
Do that, especially when I'm
Yes.
coming to you to try to resolve something, and that's your response. Oh, Shauna, no, no,
Dude,
no, no. Do it to me.
that's
See what
where
happens.
that's where phone calls are wonderful. Because if I would have had to have been face to face for that conversation, I would have lost my mind. I would have lost my mind because I can sit here over the phone and portray and or just shut up. But if you can see me looking at you and you're saying the dumb stuff that people say, no, no.
Thank y'all all for joining us tonight. As you can tell, we have so much pent up.
That's because last week somebody was running on CP time on
Somebody
some
was
serious.
run. I was definitely running on CP time. Definitely. So
I
sorry.
was sitting here like,
Sorry, sorry, sorry. Definitely
so
running on CP
I feel
time.
like we had to like just vent a little bit, but
But you
yeah.
held it down. I went back and watched it. I said, "Oh, look at the little guru in the
So
making.
that's because I had to do it over again.
Look at
If I
the
would,
little guru in the making."
yeah, it was. I had to do it over again because we were clowning the whole time. Me and the Brittany and Megan and Samantha. We was just in here clowning. Like I was
Okay.
talking and stuff, but we was clowning.
Mm,
It was what it was.
mm.
It is our second one. I'm not stressed about it, but
I think I think this is I think this is therapy, even if for nobody else, it's therapy for us.
for sure,
It's there. It's definitely therapy for us.
I
So,
agree. Because
um,
I'll talk your ear off, and then I don't have to go complain to my wonderful boyfriend.
yeah.
So
Shauna, I talk just as much. I don't know how we get along so well because we both can go. And I don't know how we give each other the floor to go, but we do. I don't know. Because
that's
I can
because
go.
we talk on the phone for like 3 or 4 hours at a time.
I mean that too, but we're both talking though.
I
Like we're
know, I
both,
know.
you know what I'm
There's just
saying?
it's a lot. There's a lot going on every single day, everywhere. There's a lot going on. It's a lot. And I don't even watch the news.
I don't
I
know.
mean, I have been a little bit, but I don't even pay attention to stuff outside of, and it's a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I pay attention to what's going on because of my gas prices, because I'm sitting at a half a tank and I got to go in the office this week and next week.
I already said I'm gonna have to start getting gas at a half a tank. I can't go to an empty tank no more
No,
because
it's going to cost me like $50 to fill my tank
and I have
versus,
a small car, and the last time I got gas, it cost me about $40, and I was already at a quarter of a tank. So I said, okay, well, half a tank, I get gas at a half a tank. Um, you know, me and the kid are not eating out anymore like that. We went to Bob. I said, we're gonna start going to Bob Evans because on Tuesday nights from 4 to 9, kids eat free.
nice.
So, and they got a little elderly menu that I eat off of. That I eat off of. So I'm
Not
in
the
and out.
elderly.
I'm I'm in and out of there $10.
Oh, they let you
$10.
order off that?
Yeah. They
I used
have
to be
a
a server at Denny's 20,000 years ago, and you were not allowed to order off the senior citizen if you
it's a
weren't
senior
one.
citizen menu. They just don't call it that. They call it
You're a
dinner
senior
bill.
citizen.
They call it dinner bill or something like
Ah!
that. They call it dinner bill. And I had me a nice little chicken fried steak with mashed potatoes and
Well,
green beans for $9.99. And then I get elderly on them. I'm like, can I have some hot water and lemon, please, with honey? And it's
you need to
scrumptious.
start. You need to start advertising the book on the YouTube
Okay.
site, or you need some change if we're doing hot water with lemon, bitch.
I'm eating off the elderly menu at Bob Evans. Hey,
We
it's
need to
there.
get you the lemonade money.
It's girl. It just doesn't say senior citizen. It says dinner bell or something. It's-
Great.
Me and the
All right,
kid.
Heifer. I'm gonna start
Mm,
our little off thingy, but to anybody that watched or anybody that's gonna watch it already recorded, we appreciate you coming
we
and watching
do.
our
We
little
do.
show. And it'll
Please
get better as
comment.
we go. Yes. And we
And
posted the email address. So if you guys have a topic idea, let us know. Um, I did actually get one that I can share with
okay.
you.
Okay.
So we could do that.
Okay. And
But
listen,
all
Shauna
right.
and I both, we love to research stuff and look up stuff. So we can really come back with some educated responses to whatever you have questions about. Okay.
Because
We
Chat
just won't.
GPT is super smart.
But I have a library card. I have a library card. So, so, you get the best of both worlds. She'll use ChatGPT. I use my library card. Okay.
All right, everyone. Peace
Bye, guys.
and
Thanks for joining.
We hope you enjoyed the show. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Stay blessed.